Hi, thanks so much for tuning in with the Empath Sisters. I'm Bev.
I'm Shelly.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and we hope that you liked our last episode where I got to share a bit about my journey and my story. And we had mentioned that we were going to be talking about science this
Yeah.
episode. We're really excited about it. We were already just kind of chatting prior to us coming on here, and we were thinking also just to we were going to explain to you about how we receive signs and what kind of signs we can receive,
Yeah.
and of course, based on our experiences, of course. So for everybody, it can be totally different. And, just also explaining to you about, how spirit can communicate with us, whether it's our loved ones or angels or our spirit guides. So I'm super
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. Super excited to talk about it today. Like Bev said, yeah, it's definitely something that I think we should talk about.
Mhm.
We do get signs from our loved ones or our spiritual team or even
Yeah.
angels if you believe in angels. And it does take a lot of energy for them to send us a sign.
Yeah.
And the only way that I can actually explain how it kind of works for me, this is just my personal experience, or however you want to say it, or how I explain it to some people that do ask me, like how you receive signs. And for me, it's almost kind of like when a loved one wants to give you a sign, it's like having it lining up. That's just how I look at it. So, like, for example, if
Right.
somebody was to give you a dime, let's say, and this is basically how I picture it, or how I kind of just have known, I guess, how it works. And it has, like, you'll have the loved one basically try to find someone, not like I'm not saying that they find random people or anything like that, but they're just like they'll find someone that has, let's say, coin in their pocket, and so they will try to get that person to
Mhm.
put their hand in their pocket and then make that coin fall to the ground. So they
Right.
literally will basically say, like, put your hand in your pocket, put your hand in your pocket, put your hand in your pocket. And then until they do that, then they will
Yeah.
do that motion. And then that coin will fall into the ground. And so that now is basically, let's just say that's step one in their process of trying
Right.
to get you to find this dime. So then what next thing they'll do is they're going to try and now get you to go to that location. So let's say you go for a walk and you normally go the same route on your walk, but for some reason you get this feeling or a knowing or even like a thing that pops in your head saying, go that way. So instead
Right.
of turning left or like turning right, you would pick the route that they want you to go. So then you go and you just kind of like, well, that's weird. I'm going to go this way today. And so you'll be walking that way. And while you're walking, I can kind of like explain that they're doing the same thing to you. So it's like they're talking to you and you're maybe not aware, but some people can be aware, where they're like in your mind basically saying,
Right.
look down, look down, look down, look down, look down, look down, look down. And so, like, you're just walking away and, you're just nonchalant looking at different things. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, you just happen to look down at the right moment. And then there is
Yeah.
your dime. So
Right.
sometimes, like I said, it can take so much energy to do that. And what I mean by that, it could take days, it could take a day, it could take an hour.
Mhm.
It just depends on how much energy and what you're doing, basically, and how much they want to show you that sign that they are there and that they're thinking of you, and you get your sign. So,
Right.
but like I said, that's how I look at it. That's something that I don't know how else to explain it. I'm not sure
Kind of
what.
like coming, that's like your understanding. of
Yeah.
like how it works for you and how the process is
Right.
for you to receive the sign.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and not only that, like I was saying to Bev earlier before we were on on today's episode, is like it's even just like, let's say you don't normally go to get the mail, and
Hmm.
one day you're just like, oh, I'm going to go get the mail, and you walk to the mail, and all of a sudden there's a dime at the mail. Well, that's because,
Hmm.
again, they're guiding you to see that
Yeah.
sign. So it's still that much energy to get you to go do something that you don't normally do. I hope that makes
Right.
sense.
I think so. Would you
Yeah.
say then maybe to kind of like look for those like odd moments, I guess, like, the out of the norm feelings,
Yeah.
right? Of just like, oh, today I'm going to drive home this way
Right.
or I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
drive this route or yeah, today, you plan on staying home all day and then all of a sudden you just get this feeling like you're just, what, I just need to run to this place. I should just get this over with or yeah, and then maybe that's kind of why you're getting that sign because you're already kind of getting that guidance or that push to that feeling
Right.
to go and do that or go that direction or
Yeah, it's
yeah,
basically like you were saying, like that awareness, right? It's almost like
yeah,
you just get more in tuned of listening, really,
yeah,
to
yeah,
what you should be doing or going or doing something that you feel the urge, I guess,
yeah.
to do. So yeah, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
I definitely can say that I know lots of times that I've received signs, I'll be like, I don't even know why I went this way.
Yeah,
Actually, I remember telling you a couple weeks ago when I was asking for a sign um, for something that I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, I really need a sign, you guys, like right away, because I need to know right away. There was a deadline.
yeah,
And I had some time to kill. And for whatever reason, I took a route that I would never take, and I did, and it was the longest route that I could possibly take to get to this place.
yeah,
And so by the time I got there, you know, there was nothing there as I went and walked in front of my vehicle, went into the place, and nobody was around. It was late, and then I
yeah,
came out, and all of a sudden there's coins scattered on the sidewalk, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So, but I
yeah.
remember going like, "It's so weird. It was random. I don't even go that way."
Right.
So
Yeah.
it brought me to that sign. So so I can say for sure if you kind of have that awareness that this is odd, you might not know it in the moment,
Right.
but when you're going with it, it usually will bring you to something that you've been
Yeah,
asking
and
for.
sometimes, like even you were saying too, like sometimes it might not mean something at that moment either, like whatever
Totally.
sign we get. And some
Yeah,
things can represent different things. Like,
for sure. Yeah.
I don't know, for example, like getting a coin and looking at the date. So
Yeah.
like Bev and I, we always look at the date of the coin.
Always. Always. Yeah.
It's the first thing we always say to each other is like, what was the date?
What's the date? As soon as
Yeah.
I get it, I'm like, oh, and I look to see what's the date because dates mean everything to me. And
Yeah.
usually when spirit is trying to give you a date, it's representing something. Maybe it's, a past memory or, there's something significant about the date. So it's usually, of course, a year that would be on the coin. But
Right.
so like the signs that I receive from our dad is like I always get dimes from my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's been from the very beginning, and they're always dated 2012. And I
Yeah.
have a jar at home and I collect them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people you could go through there because they're all going to be 2012. So, yeah, and it's even coins that I receive from my spirit team. So for myself, like I receive loonies, not often, like not all the time. Sorry, I should say not all the time. But when I do receive them, that typically means for me that there's like big change coming up for me in my journey. So whether it
Yeah.
be, related to my business or my spiritual journey or anything like that. And the date on there also represents something. I have also learned on my journey that when I receive quarters and nickels, that's usually from my spiritual team. So it'd be from my spirit guides or my angels as well. And then, of course, I get the dimes from my dad. And I was mentioning to Shelly earlier is that I do receive pennies
Yeah.
on the rare occasion as well. But I haven't really figured out what that represents yet. So I'm hoping one day I'll know what the pennies mean, just because
Yeah.
pennies
And
are very
yeah,
rare.
I feel the same way as Bev. Like I know for myself, same thing. Like she knows what certain coins represent for her. And for
Hmm.
me, I'm the same. I get dimes from my dad, and they are 2012 as well. And I also get pennies from him. But a lot of times when I get the pennies, they're actually American. So it's been really nice to get those as well because those are special to me too. But when I get other coins like that are dimes and
Hmm.
are not 2012 and that they're random year numbers, I know that they're not for me. They just aren't for me. So
Okay.
I will save them
Yeah.
for whoever may come across in my path, and then I will have like kind of a knowing, or if we're just in a
Yeah.
conversation or something like that, and then it'll be like, oh my gosh, this dime is for you, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. And I know that nickels, for me, nickels are also, well, it means two things. I probably should mention is that nickels in my household mean a lot from a loved one from my husband. And so when I get a nickel, or if he gets a nickel, we know that it's from his side of the family.
Mm.
Um,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. So
That's
like
awesome.
they'll come from like his grandmother, like he has two grandmothers that are crossed over, and it will mean one or the other
One or the
grandmother
other.
depending on the year. So
Nice.
which is nice, and so like I said, it depends on how you want to like have those coins represent for you. And so that's
Right.
why dates or years mean something. And I've even had like a nickel who like, well, I know who it was from, but but it wasn't for me again, and it was for someone else. But just
Right.
because it said, let's say the year was 2011 or something, but
Yeah.
that year might not necessarily mean anything, but the 2011 means like November the 20th, or, something like that. So you can
Yeah.
always look at it that way too, because
Yeah.
that nickel did represent something to that person because it said 2011, because
Right.
it
Yeah.
wasn't just the year, it was just also the numbers, meaning like November 20th is when they crossed over. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Totally.
something like that can also represent things
Yeah.
on coins. So, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool
That's,
because that's why we
yeah.
always look at dates.
Yeah. Why we look at dates. It's
Yeah.
always, I want to know, what does it mean? Who is it from?
Yes. Yeah.
What are they trying to say and represent? And
That's
just
right.
kind of, I guess, how the takeaway would be is how it speaks to you, just how the coin or the date speaks to you. Other signs that can come would be, can be feathers. You can also, it could be like birds. Certain
Yeah.
birds can also represent as a sign from a loved one,
Hmm.
or songs, certain songs that you hear
Yeah.
or just will play on the radio as you're driving. That can also trigger a memory as well, or be a sign, or somehow speaking to you in some way. Maybe there's
Yes.
certain lyrics that you're like, oh my gosh, I was asking for this, or I wonder if I should do this. And then the song just repeats it over and over and over in their chorus line. So it's like, okay, got the message. So there's many different ways, I guess, that you can receive signs from loved ones. I've heard so many stories from clients about signs that they've received.
Hmm.
And it's just amazing. And I think if you just have your awareness open to receiving,
Yeah.
and just kind of taking notice when you are having those, weird detouring trips, right? Or just those weird feelings of like, oh, I'm going to do this. And it's not something that you're really feeling. You don't know where that came from, it just came out of nowhere.
Hmm.
And just kind of have your awareness open and see maybe you are receiving a sign from a loved one or from your
Right.
team. Yeah.
And I like, as you're talking, they're kind of telling me too, it's not just physical things. It can be a
Yeah, for
person.
sure.
Somebody could
Yeah.
just be in your path, and all of a sudden you're talking to a stranger, and that stranger has something to tell you, and you go, oh, that was weird.
Hmm.
That's them trying to communicate through
Totally.
to you. And
Yeah.
so I also wanted to say, like, it's not just objects.
Yeah.
It
Of
can be a
course.
person too. And
Yeah.
so, like I know Bev has this too, where we can go to a grocery store and we're walking down an aisle, and all of a sudden somebody will just start talking to me or you, and they tell us our life
Always.
story. or or whatever, and you're just like, yeah, and you're just in this conversation, and then you leave and you go, wow, like,
Yeah.
so things like that
Totally.
too, like, those are also things to look for as well, like, just,
For sure.
yeah. And I think it's actually quite amazing how it works and how they do this and how they are still around us and how hard they
Yeah.
work to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Most definitely. I know for me, like people talk to me all the time. And I love talking to people as well.
yeah.
I love people. I take an interest in learning about people and who they are and what they've been through or anything like that. So I always for myself, I like those moments when I'm connecting with somebody because I always feel like it's for a reason.
Yes.
I always say to my clients, I work for spirit. So I feel like however they're guiding me, whatever I'm doing, wherever I am, and whatever happens, that's for a reason. So whether I needed to speak to this person at the grocery store, there might
Yeah.
be something that I'm saying that's coming through as I'm channeling, it's coming through, and that's something that they needed to hear. Maybe it brings them comfort, or maybe it's a push that they needed from their loved one or
Right.
their
Yes.
team. And so or vice versa, maybe it's something I need to hear, or remind me of something, like even in my own journey of like, hey, because sometimes I feel like our spirit team tries to get through to us over and over, and sometimes we just ignore it, and they're like, oh my gosh, so they're really trying hard. And so that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's the song that you hear over and over, or it could just be somebody saying that at the grocery store or wherever. So
Yeah.
it's so cool when you're just kind of just allow yourself to be open
Yeah.
in whatever way for it to come through that way of yeah, it is amazing. It
Yeah.
is
And
amazing how it all works.
yeah. And like you said, to be just more aware, right? And
Yeah.
just kind of open your awareness or mind or however you want to look at it. But I agree. Yeah. Like, and I know, I'm sure my team is like, God, she's never getting it.
I
Do you
know
know
they're
how many times? Probably so many times they were like,
probably.
Jesus, like, can you not get it, Shelly? Like,
Yeah.
God.
And actually, I do know that they do that to you because I know I've heard them tell me. I'm like, Shelly.
I
Um,
know. I'm so
but
bad.
it's fine. I mean, I receive signs. I'm open to receiving signs a lot. There's
Mm-hmm.
the odd time where I'm just kind of like, I'll second guess, I'll doubt it.
Yeah.
But I am definitely one to barter. I'm just like, I'll put up a fight. I'll be like, okay, you better do this, please. I need a sign. I'm open and I would like it right away.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely kind of put up a fight, with one of my guides, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
try to be open and just, okay, yeah, I get how the process works. So, and
Yeah.
I also was going to say is that we can also receive signs through our dreams.
That's right.
So while we are sleeping, that's what I'm hearing is like, hello, don't forget, which
Yes.
I can't forget that because it happens a lot, that you can receive signs and messages through your dreams, and it can be from loved ones, and it can also be from your spirit team. So also I know that's why a lot of people will record, wake up and record their dreams, to kind of see what the messages are there. For myself, I know that I can't mine, when I wake up in the morning, if I sit there and write, it could be pages and my hand cramps when I write too much.
Yeah. Depending on how the dream is.
Yeah, well, and you're trying to get every detail out, and so I
Yeah.
find that I'm just like, and it just gets messier and messier, and my hands cramping, and I'm like, ah. So I have decided that I just voice record mine now. So I'm an Apple user, so on my iPhone there's the voice memos, and I'll just literally just click that on first thing in the morning, and I just lay in bed with my eyes closed, and I'm like, and I just like say everything that I can remember in my dream, and then
And
I just leave it.
that's
So
actually a great idea because yeah,
yeah,
not everybody likes to even write like or
totally.
journal. Like people don't journal, and so I think that's a
Yeah.
great idea, and I'm glad you brought that up because that might give somebody else a reason to record
Yeah.
their thoughts or dreams or whatever happened, and then they can go
Yeah.
back and actually like listen. I know you have. We've done that a couple times.
Yes, so amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Some of
And
them I
so,
even forget. I'll be like, I just
yeah.
record them and I leave them and forget. And then I know even when we were chatting the one day and I was like, oh, listen, I have this dream and we were listening to it together. And I was like, I remember this. Like, I don't even remember recording it. I don't remember this happening.
Yeah.
So crazy, but
Yeah.
it is so amazing. And I know, like, even some of the clients that I speak to, they always say, oh, I get stuff in my dreams all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that people who maybe aren't as open throughout the day, maybe they're very busy minded, might miss signs and messages. And so they do communicate with them through their dreams because that's when they're the most relaxed.
Right.
And so it's easier for them to communicate. And so some of my clients will say, oh, I get so much in my dreams all the time, but I feel like I get nothing, you know, throughout my day. But for them, some of them, they wake up, like it'll be in the middle of the night. It'll be like halfway through their sleep. They'll wake up and they have all this information
Yes.
and they're like, I'm not going to start writing in the dark. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where I would say, like, use the voice recorder, just turn it on, just say everything in the dark and then just put it away. And then that way you aren't missing out because they'll often say to me by the morning, like they've forgotten everything. It's almost
Right.
like as if they didn't dream, but they remember waking up halfway through the night and getting
Yeah.
all this information. So might be another reason why you'd want to record them. So super
Yeah, for
easy.
sure. Yeah, I think that's honestly that's probably a good way of doing that. Really,
Yeah.
because you just made me also think about where when you were saying like you might not remember when you first wake up, but then during the
Mm-hmm.
day all of a sudden you go, oh yeah, it just clicks. Or even if you did record it and then you go back, you kind of go, oh my gosh, and then you start remembering actually more of the dream. Sometimes that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
So that's also information too that you could record and go back and remember and stuff
Oh,
like
for
that.
sure. Even just the ones that we were listening to, Shell, is they were a year ago,
Yeah.
but now they're coming to this point in my life where it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's coming to me and I'm like, oh my gosh, these things are happening.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh yeah, I had a dream. And I'll honestly think it was just recently. And
Yeah.
we'll listen to it and I look at the date and I'm like, last year. And
Yeah.
so now it's just coming into alignment, which is so cool to be able to see how things are lining up. So
Absolutely. Yeah,
I don't
for
know. It's
sure.
really cool. So
It
I would
is.
encourage anybody to do the voice recording. So I don't know what it's like for Android users, sorry, but you could definitely look into, I don't know, could find a way. I'm sure there's something for
I'm
Android
sure there is.
users.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try to pretend
I
I know what
know,
I'm talking
right?
about. That is
I
not
know,
me.
right? It's like we're Apple users. Sorry, you Android
Yeah.
people.
Well, I'm not even a great Apple user too. I mean, I always rely on my daughter to help me with things because I'm not with the times really in that sense. So I'm grateful for her help for sure. So um, another thing I wanted to mention is about like how spirit communicates with us. And what I would like to say about that is that for anybody that's had loved ones that have passed on, um, a way that spirit tries to communicate with us and let us know that they're around is, kind of like when you're just driving or you're just maybe washing the dishes, you're just kind of in your routine. And then all of a sudden it just like pops into your head. You think about that person that you've lost. So, like
Mhm.
for me, sometimes I'll be driving. I mean, it's been years already since dad has passed, and I'll be just driving home on the highway and all of a sudden he'll just pop right into my head, and that is to represent that they're right there. I always say to my clients, like, they're literally popping in
Yeah.
for a visit. They're
Yeah.
just dropping in, they're saying hello. And so I always like to mention that to my clients just so that they know that it's just not a random thing that you're just thinking about them and then you're going to get sad or anything like that. They're actually just coming in, they want to say hello. And yes, maybe it will make you sad, but they're just trying to say hello and that they're
Right.
right there with you. And maybe they're trying to bring you comfort or they want you to remember something. Like it's a memory that they're trying to share with you that may come to you as well. So just know that when those moments happen, they're right there and just say thank you and be
Yeah.
open to having that special moment with your loved one.
Well, and that is very true. And even in dreams, like they were just
Mm-hmm.
showing me too, like you'll be dreaming about something, whatever, it could be something really out there, and then all of a sudden you get an image or
Yeah.
something that will represent your loved one in your dream,
Yeah.
and you go, what, that was weird. That's also them popping in saying like, hey, like,
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
here too, don't worry, or I'm with you, or however, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, definitely the
Yeah.
same thing. So, which
I've
is
heard other,
nice.
yeah, for sure. I've heard other people also report, they'll, oh, I was sleeping and I felt like something woke me up and I opened my eyes and I saw my grandmother standing, at the end of my
Mm-hmm.
bed or
Yeah.
at my door,
Well, yeah.
and sound maybe creepy to some, sorry.
Yeah.
But to them that was like actually being visited, maybe if they're
Yes.
not seeing them all the time or getting the signs, or maybe they were asking for something and then all of a sudden, their grandmother comes through and appears that way to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that can bring also comfort or also bring a sign. So that can also happen too with
Yes,
with
that's
spirit.
right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
like Bev said, like it can be even our team. Like it doesn't always
Mm-hmm.
necessarily be our loved ones as much as we would love for them to see us every time and all
Of
that, but
course.
it definitely can be our spirit guides or angels, like I said earlier, if you believe in them.
Yeah.
They will also come in different ways and
Yeah.
forms, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how you communicate with your spirit guides or angels again.
Yeah.
But they will also as well come to you as well. So,
Yeah.
which is very special too, because they're there to also help and guide you, right? So
For sure.
through this human experience that we're having.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And loved ones are always, I feel like they're always trying to give us signs,
Yeah.
even from the beginning when they do leave the physical, they know we're the ones that are suffering here. We're the ones that are grieving or, that sort of things. We're the ones that are left behind
Mm-hmm.
to them. And so, they always want us to try, I guess they want to try to let us know that they're okay and they've
Yeah.
crossed over or that they're still with us. And I like to use the analogy of a house actually and how spirit likes to communicate with us and how they create signs for us. And so I always say, if you think about a house and you think about our loved ones living upstairs and we live on the main floor and they're really close, they're right there,
Mm-hmm.
but they want to let us know that they're in the same house as us and that so they will create things for us to know that they're upstairs, that they're just
Yeah.
that close. And so you might hear the floor creaking, you might hear a cupboard might open, the lights might flicker, things like that. Like they will try to use energy to create something to happen in your home as well to let you know like, hey, I'm here, it's okay, I'm just right here, I'm just literally like
Yeah.
upstairs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just to know that they're so close. And I think actually it's just coming to me right now is that I feel like a lot of people wonder if they're watching us all the time, like, are they watching me in the shower? you know when I'm undressing or maybe doing other things, and they don't want loved ones to know maybe they do certain things.
Yeah.
And so I always say, they don't. They're like us. They're busy. When they're on the other side, it's like being here. They're living like just like they were living here in the physical. They're busy. They have free will, so it's not like they're just attached to us, hanging out with us all the time.
Right.
They're coming in for a visit, just like as if I had to come and visit you, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen all the time, but when we do get to visit each other, it's like, oh, hey. And that's kind of what it's like for spirit. They don't want to watch us in the shower. They don't want to see what we're doing, watch us sleeping. That's creepy. They wouldn't do it in the physical. So they're not going to do it while they're on the other side, just stand there and stare at you. But so yeah, I just kind of wanted to put that out there just to maybe put some people at ease that, oh, okay, good. They're not,
Yeah.
just around all the time. So
No.
even though as much as like you were saying, Shell, like we want them to be around all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I know even for myself, when I go for readings, I'm always like, yes, okay, I want dad to come through and I'm all
Yeah.
excited. And he hardly comes through.
I know.
He's just like, whatever. I don't need to come through.
I
I
know.
can see you whenever,
Yeah.
like, what do
Yeah.
you want? I'm busy.
Mm-hmm.
We have nothing to talk about. So they won't always come through.
No.
It's just, I feel like when they have a message or maybe when we're needing that extra support or love or whatever, then we'll have a visit. So
Yeah.
I'd like just wanted to put that out there as well.
Yeah, and
So
I think that was good because honestly, yeah, I have had a lot of people wonder that or are like, "Oh
mhm.
my God, are they watching me when I go to the bathroom?" Like that kind of stuff. And
And
it's
having a
like,
bath.
yeah, right. Hey? And it's like, no, they don't want to watch you do that.
No,
So,
totally.
but I think that's, yeah, I think a lot of people have definitely thought that and wondered
For
about
sure.
that. And I agree with you. Yes, but I will
Mhm.
say that they don't have a sense of time.
No,
There is no time in their world.
no.
They love to just come whenever they want to, so it can be in the
Yes,
middle of the night. So,
totally.
but no, they're not. They're literally not watching you
Yeah.
24/7. And
No.
I also wanted to say too, you have to remember, we're not just the only loved ones that they have lost.
Oh, for sure.
Like
Yeah,
like
it's not
even
just
for
all
you and
about
me, and
us.
like, do you know what I mean? Like they're not
Yeah,
just going to
totally.
be with that person all the time. They're
Yeah.
not. They have other
No.
people and other things that they are doing. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I know that there is the saying they're always with you, which yes, but not to the extent that they are like literally with you like all the time. Like
Yeah.
they're around
Not
you.
like a
Yes.
backpack.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
Yeah.
just not hanging out with you all the time. They're like, yeah, other
Yeah.
things to do and see and people to visit
That's
and,
right. Yeah, they
you know,
have things that they're doing too, like which we'll probably talk about in another episode. But
probably.
yeah, like what they are, well, what we feel that what they're doing on the other side
Yeah.
and stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I will give you one little example for like receiving a sign that's quick, I guess.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was quick. I do remember going to this farmer's market where we used to live, and it was one of the biggest farmer's market that they have in Alberta, and I loved going there. They had so much stuff, and but where this farmer's market was, there was this really cool store that I loved to go, like a metaphysical store called Crimson and Quill. And I remember going, oh,
Cool.
I really want to go there. I'm going to pick up an amber. And at that time, I wanted an amber stone. And I remember walking towards the store because it wasn't very far, and like from the market. And on my way there, I remember saying, like, to Archangel Michael, who I talk to a lot. Like, I believe in angels. I think that they're around us and here to protect us and serve, like, not serve us, but like help us, I should say. And so I would say to, Archangel Michael, like, please help protect me, give me this shield, cut any cords, and make sure that no energies, attached to me when I go into the metaphysical store, because I don't know about anybody else, and I know my sister
Yeah.
agrees. Like, when you go into a metaphysical store, or even my favorite antique shops or pawn shops and stuff like that. But anyway, I know we'll have that as another topic. But the energy that is in those stores are super huge because
Oh,
they just
you,
absorb all people's energies from
well, and
people
just yeah,
touching and
the crystals alone is like
yeah.
so
Exactly.
much
So,
energy.
yeah, so I'm like, asking him to do all this stuff. And I remember getting to the store and I walked in and the clerk was there and there was a lady there and the clerk is like, "Hi, welcome to the store basically." And she's like, "Can I help you with anything?" And I said, "No, I'm just looking for an amber." And she said that she didn't have any and if there was anything else that she could help me with. And I said, "No, I'll just look around." And she
Yeah.
had this like huge shelf. It was like almost like a bookcase type shelf. So like one side
Oh, okay.
had, books and then one side had card decks. So like tarot and
Okay.
oracle decks and stuff like that. And so she's standing there, the clerk is, and she's like has a deck and she's shuffling her deck. And I was like, "Oh, cool." So I walk over there and I seen all these decks because you could actually like touch them and play and see if they, resonated with you or whatever. And
Right.
so I was
Cool.
shuffling. And so anyway, the clerk is talking to that customer that was in the store.
Okay.
And they're talking about totem animals and stuff like that. And I'm just sort of like, just kind of like eavesdropping. And so anyway, they finished their conversation, but that clerk is still like shuffling. And I'm standing there, and for some reason, like I felt like I could not leave the store
Yeah.
until she stopped shuffling so that I could see what card she was going to like pull or whatever. So
Yeah.
anyway, she finally stops her shuffling, and I say to her, I'm like, "I'm sorry, I just can't leave until you show me what card you just flipped." She's like, "Oh, that's fine, type thing." And so she
Yeah.
shows me the card, and the card was Archangel Michael. And I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh my God." She's like, "What?" And I said,
Oh,
"Well, I just asked Archangel Michael to give me protection and all that's before coming into the store. And here you are, you're showing me the card of
hmm.
Archangel Michael." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And she's like, "Well, see, he's here to protect you." And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, amazed how quickly that sign even came for me. And so I
Right.
just was like, "Oh my God." So, like I said earlier, sometimes signs can happen right away, and sometimes it takes so much energy to build and get that sign. It just
Yeah.
depends on how it works. And I
Yeah.
was just thrilled to get that because I was just like, "Wow." I was just like, "What?" Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. So,
That's cool. And you were just so
yeah.
open, right? They just like, give
Yeah.
it to her right now. She's open. She'll
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. And I mean,
But
I
it brought
have,
you comfort,
yeah, it did actually, because it made
just
me
like
go
peace of
like,
mind.
yes, that I knew that, okay, like he's telling me, like, "Don't worry, trust in me. I am here. I am protecting you." So, which was nice. And so I remember
Yeah.
saying, like, I remember even leaving and going, "Thank you for that." Like, I was so, so excited. And just like my
Oh,
vibration was just like, pew, like, it was awesome. And, like, I mean,
cool.
I have other signs too, but,
For
they're,
sure.
they're definitely, um, some little ones and some big ones, but yeah,
Yeah.
they're just so cool when you get them. So
Yeah. They definitely are. They're so special.
yeah,
I love receiving signs. I'm always putting it out there. I'm not, demanding or anything. I'm just putting it
no,
out there and I'm definitely open. And sometimes it's not that I'm even asking for a sign. Sometimes we can just be thinking about something, or maybe we're wishing on something and it's just, or we're putting something out there, or we're thinking, maybe I should do this, or,
yeah,
just kind of trying to figure things out, or and sometimes it just, you'll get a sign that represents something that you were thinking about, and it's like,
hmm,
oh my gosh, and then you start to kind of notice the signs that it really starts speaking to you
yeah,
even louder and louder, and then it's kind of like, okay, I think I'm going to do this, like it keeps coming up, right, or something
hmm,
like that. And so sometimes it's not just like in your face, or that you're even asking for something specific.
right,
You can just be getting those signs. Or sometimes I'll, in my mind, I'll worry about something, and then all of a sudden, I'm out and about and I'm just driving, and there'll be a certain vehicle or something, and I just get really close and not even notice, and and it'll be a triple number of
right,
some sort, right? Triple threes or fives or whatever it is.
yeah,
And when I get home, I'm checking, what does that represent? And it'll be like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh. And it'll speak to me, of course. And I'll be like, that's so crazy. When I was in the car, I was thinking about this. And
Yeah.
at that moment, I received that sign. So sometimes, yes, like you were saying, it can happen so quickly. And sometimes, it doesn't. It takes
Yeah.
days, weeks, months. I know
Yeah.
some things
Long
can take a
time.
long time. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for
so
sure.
cool. It's so cool. It's all about timing. I always believe in
Pretty
divine
much.
timing.
Yeah.
So whenever you're meant to receive the sign,
Mhm.
it's when you're meant to receive it. So
That's right.
yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And we definitely have some bigger signs of how, even how you were talking, Shelly, earlier about how, there's that like chain reaction or that
Yeah.
event, the
Yeah.
the chain of events that lead up to something. And I know that we even have a story to share in another episode about something like that, really big
Yes. Oh my
happening. It
gosh.
was amazing and incredible.
Yeah.
And working through so many people and creating so much to happen, it was awesome. So that's definitely an episode I can't wait to talk
Oh,
about.
yeah. And I will do a disclaimer or like a pre head of time. It will make me cry. So I
Yes.
probably will cry a few times in that one. Just because it was just so, like Bev said, it was, uh, it's just an amazing, amazing
Amazing
story.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
can't wait to
really
share
is.
that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, so yeah, I think we've pretty much, I think, gone over what we feel how signs
Yeah.
are, and I hope that this helps you in some way or gives you some kind of peace of mind too. Even like what Bev was saying, like earlier, like
Yeah.
that they're not watching you all the time, like when
Yeah.
you're whatever. But yeah, I really hope that this helped you guys today, and
Mhm.
just want to
For
say
sure.
thank you for
Thanks
tuning
for tuning
in
in.
with the
Yeah.
Empath Sisters today. And we're sending you much love, light, and gratitude wherever you may find us.
Yeah, you betcha. We hope that you will tune into our next episode, and we are going to be talking about different energies. So
Yeah.
I hope you're going to like that too. So we look
Yeah.
forward to chatting with you all then. And until then, take care. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.